Hey guys, Mike here with another video, and today I want to talk about Terraform. In its simplest form, it's infrastructure as code, which means you should definitely be using it. And because your infrastructure is code, it's version controlled infrastructure, which is definitely why you should be using it for multiple reasons. It's also provider abstraction, which means that even though you do have to write provider specific code, such as for AWS, Google or DigitalOcean, it still takes away the need to understand the APIs, and it takes away the need to keep up with those APIs as they change. Simply put, those APIs are abstracted away from you, which is just great. And although I could go on about Terraform all night, I do only have 5 minutes. So what I will say finally is that it couples great with Ansible, and in my case, AWS. That's enough of my face. Let's go to screen and check it out. So what we have here is a very basic Terraform file with provider AWS in it, and that's going to tell Terraform that we want to use AWS as our cloud provider. Now the credentials are not provided here. Instead, I throw them into bash profile because I find that that's much easier to manage when you move between accounts. So as we can see here, I've just got some variables that I export, and just for the record, they won't work, so don't even bother trying. So as we can see here, I've gone in and added online for a data AWS AMI Ubuntu. So what we're doing here is we're asking the AWS AMI to present to us all of the Amazon machine images with a name of Ubuntu Images EBS Ubuntu Trusty 1404 AMD 64 server with a wildcard on the end, but also an additional filter of paravirtual virtualization type and also owned by Canonical. This means that we can use the ID of this AMI later on when we come to build our EC2 instances, as we'll see in just a moment. This is very powerful. So as we can see here on line 17, now we're getting into the good stuff. Now we're actually defining a resource, in this case an AWS instance. We're saying that we want one of them, and if you look on line 19, we're actually now referring to our previous block on line 4, between 4 and 15 of data AWS AMI. This allows us to pull in that AMI ID without having to go and hunt for it ourselves. That's very powerful. What we're also doing is setting the instance type to a T1 micro. What we're also doing here as well is we're setting a tag called name on the resource called web dash, and then we're actually referencing a variable. In this case, we're actually referencing the variable count from this very AWS instance, and we're referring to the index of that count, so it's count.index. Now, like traditional arrays in languages like C and JavaScript, the index actually starts at 0, so even though the count is equal to 1, the index is actually 0. Now, of course, there's no point in defining state, and there's certainly no point in storing state without actually creating something from that state. But before you create anything, you should definitely always do a Terraform plan. And as we can see here on the screen, what a Terraform plan is going to do is actually show us what Terraform is going to do to our infrastructure. So in this case, it's telling us that it's going to create a new instance for us, a new EC2 instance. It's even going to give us information about the AMI it's found, the name it's going to call the EC2 instance. This is really critical because if you pull down the code and someone has made a change to it and you're not aware of that, and then you Terraform apply without looking at a plan first, you could blow away a database, an instance, a firewall rule. And now finally, for the good stuff, we actually get to apply our state to AWS itself with Terraform apply. This will actually take our state, talk to the AWS API, and build infrastructure for us. This is where the fun really begins. This is where you actually start seeing Terraform in action, and this is where you start to see the benefits of Terraform. Of course, it is also possible that you might want to destroy your infrastructure, and that's what we're seeing here. Obviously, I'm not going to leave these servers lying around. They're just for demonstration purposes. So with a quick Terraform destroy, a quick confirmation, we blow away that EC2 instance. It's gone, the resources have disappeared, and we can move on. And that is Terraform in a nutshell.